a freaking IKEA chair.
Details, when it comes to genre stuff, details matter. It is important that when you're even critiquing film, there are three things that you need to have. One, you need to have passion. No shortage of that. If you are writing about film or you're talking about film, you must have passion. The second thing is you need to have at least some grammatical skill. I think that's important if you're going to write reviews, and even if you're going to talk, you should be well spoken. And the third thing you need to have is a sense of film history. And that means you've seen a lot of movies, going back to when movies were in black and white. And it is in particular, it is in particular very important that if you are going to attack a project as monumental as something like The Marvels, that you have some sense of the history of these characters, that you in some way honor the legacy of these characters. And what I find really frustrating is that the current shepherds of these characters in the Marvel Cinematic Universe not only seem ignorant of what these characters, the different incarnations of these characters, their origins, but also just in general, not knowing genre films, whether it be sci-fi, fantasy, horror. I think originality is key. I think that's part of the reason we go to the movies, is to experience and see something we've never seen. But when something like this ends up being so derivative, when the plot of the Marvels is effectively just lifted from Spaceballs, I mean, it's a sad state of affairs. Know your film and pop culture history.
Yeah, you and I were at the reopening of the Egyptian Theater in Hollywood.
Yeah.
And one of the things that's going to happen there is not only is Netflix going to show all their stuff at the Egyptian, but on weekends they're going to show classic movies. And while watching their documentary about classic movies, it just dawned on me that, you know, where has the great storytelling gone? You know, and why is it that we have to go back to the 50s and the 60s to see what great storytelling used to be, or a time where people cared about, you know, story so much that you know, that it made epic films and epic movies feel even more epic. And it's just telling that people, you know, the idea of having to go to the past and watch an old movie is an anathema, and that somehow modern storytelling does it better. And I hate to say it, storytelling hasn't progressed; it's degressed, it's devolved. And I appreciate the Egyptian theater going out of its way to show old classics on a weekly basis.
Yeah, I mean, look, I've been taking the time to go to a lot of these like Fathom events just to re-experience certain films in theaters,
Mhm.
and it's just important to learn that. And I feel like this is a modern viewpoint that film history doesn't matter,
Mhm.
and that a lot of people are like, and this is actually, you know what really infuriates me is when they remake a movie from a major franchise and they don't even retitle it. They just call it Halloween
Or Mean
as
Girls.
as a way, exactly, as a way to supplant the original movie,
Mhm.
because maybe some things happened in that movie that were problematic, because PJ Souls took her top off in the original Halloween from 1978, which I saw. And all I can say, I can't really, I mean, I let Alan speak for
Yeah,
himself.
well,
What can I get for you, sir?
A boob. At least one.
Great choice.
Why did you show that? That's
yeah,
crazy, Alan.
because it's true. It's true. I mean, granted, you didn't see a whole lot of that in the 50s and the 60s, but
and look, I mean, you know, we just got through reviewing Ahsoka, you know, every episode. I can't believe we did that. But in that show, it's been pointed out that Treasure Planet, a Disney animated show, is where so many ideas were lifted for Ahsoka. The whole idea of space whales going through space, the idea of which actually I feel was organic to Treasure Planet, has no place in Star Wars. I think it's a stupid idea. The idea of like this little artifact that spits out like, a light map or whatever, like that's also in Treasure Planet. There are a lot of ideas from Treasure Planet that were lifted for Ahsoka. Again, sometimes you know your history, but maybe the whole idea is come up with a new idea. Come up with a new idea.
Or even better, study the masters of the past.
Right.
And then put your spin on it. That's how you modernize these things. You understand why these things worked back then.
Right.
Why storytelling like that worked back then.